The Bad Batch, Spoils of War and Ruins of War. Season 2 of The Bad Batch started this week with the release of 2 episodes, giving us a 45-minute total start to the new season, which of course is a welcomed surprise. That said, I will be mostly comparing this to the Season 1 premiere, which will no doubt be pretty hard as in my opinion, that still stands as one of, if not the best episode of Bad Batch to date. Part 1 of the Season 2 introduction, Spoils of War, sees the Bad Batch get a new mission from Sid thanks to her pirate friend, Fee Genoa, who is introduced in this episode, and based on the trailers, then I'm sure we'll be seeing quite a lot of her later on in the season. The mission itself is an interesting one. Head to Serenno and steal one of Count Dooku's war chests from his ruined castle. I thought this was pretty neat, as we got to see Serenno again, and how it now looks like in the aftermath of the Clone Wars. Which, suffice to say, not much is left after the Empire's orbital bombardment of the Serenian city close to Castle Serenno. When the Batch do arrive, they see that the Empire has already started loading up all of Dooku's goods on several freighters. So the plan is to steal what they can just before the freighters take off. And everything goes according to plan until things get messy when one of the troopers that Wrecker knocks out starts being paged by Captain Wilco, the Imperial clone captain in charge of the operation. And by receiving no response, the Empire then realizes that there are intruders in the area, and that's where the action starts, with the clones entering a firefight with the Bad Batch just outside the castle, resulting in Echo, Omega, and Tech being separated from Hunter and Wrecker. Again, while it was neat to see Serenno again, especially inside the castle and all, I can't really say I was super satisfied with this episode. It was okay at best, but again, I'm comparing it to the Season 1 premiere, and well, yeah, it doesn't really stand a chance to that. My one big issue here in Spoils of War is that when Wilco starts asking for the knocked out trooper to report in, why couldn't Echo just take the helmet and pretend to be that trooper? I mean, unlike everyone else on the Batch, he sounds exactly like a Reg. So think about it, in doing that, it wouldn't have tipped off the Empire so early, and in turn giving them more time to steal what they want and get out. So, real dumb move here by Echo there, but on the bright side, I did at least like the updated look that everyone had here. And I especially dig the red bandanas and orange paint that they all have, which gives them a real rebel kind of vibe to the Bad Batch now. Moving on to Part 2, Ruins of War, it's exactly that, a continuation of what we had before, with both separated groups trying their best to get away from the Empire alive, and having escaped via a cargo container crash landing back on Serenno. Tech gets injured in the process, and the group end up seeking refuge from a local Serenno man named Romar Adel, who I don't know about you, but this guy looks awfully a lot like Dooku, or at least a more accurate visual representation of what Dooku would look like in the Clone Wars art style, compared to the more cartoony Dooku that we did get. Anyway, Romar ends up gifting a kaleidoscope to Omega, which while kind of random now, I'm sure it will be referenced or used in some way in the near future, so good to make note of it here. Meanwhile, Hunter and Wrecker manage to find and fix a cannon from an old Separatist tank, and then using it to take down a V-Wing and a good chunk of Wilco's clones that are after them. Although it did make me chuckle of how Hunter was still stunning the clones while at the same time, Wrecker was using actual lethal force and blasting them with firepower meant for a tank. Yeah, he no doubt killed a good number of clones here and clearly had no issue doing so, which at the same time kinda felt pointless for Hunter to still be stunning them because why? You're only okay with half of the clones dying, but not all of them, right? Okay then. Elsewhere, Omega ends up returning back to the cargo container, eager to make sure that the batch don't leave the planet empty-handed, with Echo right behind her. But the two end up getting pinned down inside the container by an Imperial clone patrol. And luckily they're bailed out by Tech, who, even with a broken leg, is able to take out all 3 clones to save the day. Which is not only impressive, but honestly, this scene almost made me think that Tech could bite the dust here. Now, whether that would happen, I'm not sure if it would be for the better or not. But you can't argue that it would no doubt be ballsy for them to do it this early on into Season 2. Eventually, the group is picked up by the Marauder thanks to Hunter and Wrecker, with the batch having to leave empty-handed due to the Empire being on high alert. We afterwards get a scene between Wilco and Vice Admiral Rampart, with the latter revealing that the only reason he's there is due to Wilco's report that Clone Force 99 were involved in an attempted robbery on Dooku's war chest. Rampart tells Wilco that this is impossible as they were officially confirmed to be dead in the bombardment of Kamino. But Wilco denies this, saying that he saw them with his own eyes, and as well turns down a request from Rampart to forge the report, resulting in Rampart killing him in cold blood, all to make sure that the news of the Bad Batch surviving Kamino doesn't make it back to Tarkin, which would only be bad for Rampart. For me, I ended up enjoying Ruins of War the most out of the 2 parts for Season 2's intro. There was a bit more here than just mindless action, as we got to interact with a Serenno survivor, and I honestly really liked the cat and mouse chase between Hunter, Wrecker, and Wilco's forces. Omega, sure, she was a bit annoying in putting everyone's lives at risk once again, but it can be argued that her heart was in the right place in only wanting to help give the batch a normal life, after she overheard Echo that she's the reason that they can't have one. Either or, I'd say that this was an above-average episode, better than Spoils of War, but also nothing really to get crazy about. As all in all, the batch did fail their mission here, leaving Serenno with nothing to show for it but Omega's kaleidoscope toy. So, depending if that gets much use in future episodes, that will really conclude on whether these 2 episodes were a waste of time or not. Personally, I thought Season 2 started out okay at best, but could have been a lot better. And hey, most likely it will be, because only upwards from here on out. And that was my take on this episode of The Bad Batch. Let me know what you all thought about the episode in the comments down below, and if you haven't already, remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one.